Well, let's begin with that breaking news of no deal with Iran. Right now, Vice President Vance, he's flying back to Washington, D.C. Those talks lasting more than 20 hours. Now, to illustrate how tenuous it was, there are no pictures or video from those discussions. A face-to-face meeting between both sides has not happened since 1979. President Trump, monitoring the discussions from Washington, told the White House press corps late Saturday that the U.S. wins either way. Just a short time ago, Pakistan, which played host to the negotiations, released a statement saying, in part, it is imperative that the parties continue to uphold their commitment to ceasefire. NewsNation's Robert Sherman has been following all of this from Tel Aviv. Good morning from New York, Robert. Vice President Vance did speak after the meeting. What more did he tell us?
Yeah, hey there, Hena. Well, the highest level talks that you've had between these two nations in decades ending without a deal, with the vice president saying that the United States came into these conversations earnestly, looking to be flexible, looking to negotiate, but the vice president saying that the gaps that exist between Tehran and Washington too wide to bridge. Here's an extended portion of his comments for context. Take a listen.
But the simple fact is that we need to see an affirmative commitment that they will not seek a nuclear weapon, and they will not seek the tools that would enable them to quickly achieve a nuclear weapon. That is the core goal of the President of the United States, and that's what we've tried to achieve through these negotiations. Again, their nuclear program, such as it is, the enrichment facilities that they had before, they've been destroyed. But the simple question is, do we see a fundamental commitment of will for the Iranians not to develop a nuclear weapon, not just now, not just 2 years from now, but for the long term? We haven't seen that yet. We hope that we will. We just could not get to a situation where the Iranians were willing to accept our terms. I think that we were quite flexible. We were quite accommodating. The president told us, you need to come here in good faith and make your best effort to get a deal. We did that. And unfortunately, we weren't able to make any headway.
From the Iranian position, they say trust remains a big issue between the United States and Iran, with their foreign ministry spokesperson saying, we've reached understanding on a number of issues, that's the reality, but regarding 2 or 3 important issues, the views were quite distant and ultimately did not lead to an agreement. This is the latest status that I can announce to you. Meanwhile, you have Central Command recently posting these photos showing the U.S. Navy, U.S. military presence in the region not subsiding, remaining sharp, remaining vigilant, because the clear message that has come from both Tehran and Washington, Hena, is that if this ceasefire fizzles and we return to military action, both sides say they're ready to go. Hena?
With all that happening, and that is a lot, Robert, Central Command now confirming that 2 American warships were able to successfully transit the Strait of Hormuz. That seems like a good sign, but what do you know about that?
Yeah, that's really significant. Central Command saying it was a pair of American destroyers that were able to go through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday. And they say that they were beginning what they described as mine removal operations there in the Strait of Hormuz, because that's the big question. How treacherous is the Strait of Hormuz, not just with what Iran has at its disposal, possible mines being laid there. So this is significant to see 2 naval ships going through. Iran is vehemently denying that this happened, insisting that any ship that wants to go through the Strait of Hormuz can only do so with the blessing and the permission of the Iranian military. So this is going to be significant to follow here, Hena, because, of course, a top priority of the president is restoring freedom of navigation, restoring the number of ships that were going through the Strait of Hormuz before Operation Epic Fury began. This would be the first wheel spinning towards those aims. Wow. Hena.
All right, Robert Sherman, so much has happened in the last few hours. Thank you for keeping us up to date.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.